If you're dealing with knee pain that started, and especially if it got worse years after you left the military, yes, I would argue it can still be service connected. So in this video, I'm going to talk about why a lot of times it isn't, or it's denied service connection. And I want to talk about how an expert who specializes in knees can argue in a Nexus letter that your VA claim, or how that argument can be done in a way that gives you the best chance at approval. I'm Dr. David Geier, triple board certified orthopedic surgeon, sports medicine specialist, an anti-aging and regenerative medicine expert. I help military veterans by writing Nexus letters that argue that your orthopedic injuries are connected to your military training and service, so you can get the compensation you deserve. This is the latest in a long series of videos now that I've been doing, in which I answer service connection questions that I get from military veterans across the country. Very simple, paraphrase the question, but my knees hurt now, but I never had a specific injury documented in service. Can I still get service connected for my knees? I get some variation of that question all the time. And yeah, I get that with lots of body parts, but the knee is the most common one. But I had some pain back then. It went away. I pushed through it, didn't go get to sick call to get it evaluated. Then it gets denied by the VA because there's no in-service event. The symptoms showed up later. Something else must have been more likely. But the problem is these knee injuries and a lot of these knee conditions slowly develop over a long period of time. Just think of the physical demands. Ruck marches with 80 to 100 pound loads, repetitive jumping in and out of vehicles, long runs, wearing combat boots, uneven terrain, squatting, kneeling with PT, carrying heavy gear for long periods of time, standing for long periods of time on hard surfaces. All of these cause micro trauma to the articular cartilage and the subchondral bone and the meniscus and the tendons and ligaments around the knee that can lead to arthritis and lead to chronic conditions, tendinopathies and tendinoses and degenerative meniscus tears. Lots of things that may not manifest as really bad symptoms while you're in service, but that gradually progress. So now when you're in your late 30s, 40s, 50s, are really problematic. This delayed onset of these degenerative conditions is very, very common. And there are tons of scientific and medical studies showing that these repeated high-impact stresses, especially in young adults, leads to breakdown of the knees, breakdowns of the articular cartilage and subchondral bone and the meniscus and ligaments and tendons. And the symptoms don't necessarily manifest right away, but they manifest well down the road. Years later, after that damage progressively gets worse. So then what do you need in your Nexus letter to try to win that claim? First, you want the argument, the doctor, to basically say, at least as likely as not. I would argue more likely than not is even better, but at least as likely as not is good. 50% or greater probability that your current knee condition, and you do have to have a current knee condition, it can't just be knee pain in my opinion, arthritis, degenerative meniscus tear, patellar tendinopathy, quad tendinopathy, even patellofemoral pain sometimes, that specific condition was more likely than not, or at least as likely as not, caused by your physically demanding military duties and activities. You want a discussion in that Nexus letter by that knee expert talking about your military duties and how those duties cause repetitive stress or even cause specific injuries, even if they're not in your service record. So they're referencing all the different activities you do and how studies show that that can lead to early degeneration of the entire knee joint or specific structures in the knee, explaining the natural progression of this process, especially when it's minor damage, maybe even not bad enough to go to sick call. It may be patellofemoral pain in service or a small meniscus tear, didn't cause a lot of pain during service, got treated with rest or ibuprofen, but the symptoms developed slowly over a long period of time so that they led to pain, stiffness, swelling, even knee arthritis now, explaining the natural progression and how osteoarthritis can take 10 or 20 or more years to become symptomatic after these repetitive stresses, especially in physically active populations. And there's no population more physically active than the military. Looking at your records, pulling in any mentions of your knees from your service records, looking at buddy statements, lay statements, your current medical records, even after service, and including all of that, tying that all together, including your x-ray reports, MRI reports showing your current damage, and then tying it back to those repetitive stresses, again, citing scientific studies showing how those injuries are more commonly caused by those physically active duties, those physical stresses. What you don't want is a very short 1.5 page letters, Nexus letters. It doesn't really say much. No scientific studies cited, no real explanation of the biomechanics or any of that, and just says, in my opinion, is likely caused by military service. That's not really helpful. You really need the VA to understand the why your history in the military led to those current issues. So yes, knee pain years after service can be service connected. A lot of times it should be. A lot of times this damage built up over a long period of time, but you need a thorough Nexus letter written by a specialist in that area. And with knees, that's orthopedic surgery, that can help bridge that gap and hopefully get you approval for your claim. So get your service records, get your current medical records, diagnoses, current diagnosis, and any buddy statements, whatever you need. Work with a specialist in that area to get a very well-researched, thorough Nexus letter. Okay. If you're interested in learning more about the disability claims process, I've written a free ebook about the common reasons the VA denies service connection and how you can potentially overcome those. You can get it free by clicking the link in the description under this video. Please subscribe to this channel, click the bell to be notified when I release new videos like these and when I start my monthly Veteran Nexus Letter live shows in which I answer questions from veterans all over the country. It's a lot of fun. Now, if you're interested in a Nexus letter for your injury or condition, click that same link in the description below the video. Get the ebook, but scroll down further. You can learn more about working with me and working with my team. We try to make the process easy. We try to make it quick, and I try really hard to write a long, persuasive, researched with lots of studies letter that gives you the best chance of success in your claim. Thanks so much for watching, and I look forward to helping you.